What is going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining me today on this Saturday live stream. See some good people in the chats. Look at that. Morning. Hey, how's everybody doing? All right. A little bit behind this morning. Lost track of time. But, you know, it's all good, right? Did my warm-up come out? All right. Let's see. Joe Swick chiming in for the first one this morning. Blake, good to see you. Nelson. Mktron. Ryan West. Lou. Tad. Nubis. Victor. Wayne. Eric. Zwiefer. I think that's a record. That's a record amount of people that have commented before somebody's commented twice. Joe Swick ruined the streak. What's up, Chris? Morning. Ruined. That's putting it harsh. I wouldn't say ruined. Well, I did, but you know what I'm saying. Tiffany, good to see you. Good to see everybody. All right, let's kick this sucker off, right? Ramble, let's go. How about we start off with the question du jour, which I think will be something along the lines of, I should probably keep track of this and write it down. If you could play an RPG, could be running a game, could be playing it with somebody that is famous, okay? However you want to define fame, you know, if it's a movie, TV star, or, you know, streamer of your choice or something along the author or what have you, who would it be with? Who would you want? And would you want to have them as a player or as a game master? So who is the famous person that you would like to see at your table sometime, hypothetically speaking? Who famous person that you would like to play a role-playing game with? Matt's off to the races. He says, Bruce Campbell. That's a good one. Chris S. says, Jim Butcher as a player. Jim Butcher, the author of the Dresden series. Neil Gaiman by Blake Ryan says, I'd run Monster of the Week, Go Big or Go Home. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you guys have had these in your back pocket a little bit, it sounds like. Zwiefer says, Brennan Lee Mulligan. Very good. Harrigan says, Arnold as a player. What game? That's what I'd wonder. What game would you run for Arnold? Joe Swick says, Bruce would be awesome, as he refers to Bruce Campbell, but I'd pick Jack Black. Jack has played D&D. I don't know if you guys caught that. He was on one of those celebrity live stream ordeals. I think he behaved himself quite nicely, actually. Wayne Peacock says Terry Pratchett as a game master. Yeah, I see that. Tiffany Reynolds says Gibson. Gibson? Mel Gibson as game master? Do I have the right Gibson, or is that Debbie Gibson? Might be Debbie Gibson. You know, hey-oh, shout out to the 80s. Morning, Michael. Orcus, I saw you. Good morning. Oh, Nubis says Norm Macdonald, if he would have been into it. Rest in peace. I didn't stipulate whether they're alive or not, but M. Catron says Pump and Iron, the TTRPG set complete with cigar, as he refers to Harrigan's reference to Arnold, I'm guessing. Topic du jour, Michael Holland. If you could have a famous person at your game session, one game session, who would it be? As a player or a GM? Stipulate. Or either, doesn't matter. But I'm interested. So, could be however you define famous. Famous actor, author, artist, musician, streamer. Not me. I didn't mean that by saying me, but you could if you'd like to. No, I don't consider myself famous. Tiffany's clarifying. William Gibson. Okay, that makes sense. Probably playing something like what RPG would he be playing or running? I'm guessing probably like Sense and Sensibility or something, right? Like Jane Austen, the RPG. Probably William Gibson. Yeah, he'd probably be a good fit for that. Orcus Dorcas says Tom Waits running Call of Cthulhu or any other 1920s to 1940s gritty or psychological horror. All right. You've given that some thought. It sounds like Orcus. It's on the bucket list. Tad says Guillermo del Toro as either game master or player. Phil McClory says Stephen King running Delta Green homebrew session. Fine choice. Probably set in Vermont. Or set in Maine. Wow. Hey, Mainers, don't kill me. I meant set in Maine. Already unblocked that achievement, Sean. Did you? Sweefer? Who did you pick? Brennan Lee Mulligan? You didn't. Did you run it for him? That's fantastic. Orcus Dorcas adds that, as he said, Tom Waits, or Matt Colville running Sean's Everyone is Colville. Oh, I think that is, I think that's like adding what, pneumonia to baking soda? Is that the explosion that you get, like the chemical reaction? I don't know. That might be too much. That might create nuclear fission. Having Matt Colville running Everybody's Colville. That would be Colville Overdrive. The game would be called Colville Overdrive. Here we go. Wayne Peacock fiasco with Liberace. or what's his name? Paul. Oh, what's his name from I only say him because he's got a lot of mannerisms like Liberace. Paul, what's his name? Paul. He was on the Match Game. Not Charles Nelson Riley. Or could be Charles Nelson Riley. But Wayne says fiasco with Liberace. That's a pretty good one. Yeah. Memcatron says, surprised no one's mentioned the elephant in the room combo of D&D with Joe Manganiello. Yeah. I mean, if you play your cards right, you get to Gary Con and he's running a game. But I don't think he does. I think he goes there to play. Paul Lind. That's what Tad was trying to type frantically. Paul Lind. Yeah. Paul Lind as a tabletop player, that'd be awesome. Thanks, guys. Paul Lind, Paul Lynn, one of those. Looks like a few people have a certain different spelling of his last name. Lou K says, play with the cast of Seinfeld with special guests Jim Gaffigan and Kathleen Madigan. An RPG about nothing. Oh, epic. Lou, nicely done. Well done. Bruce Campbell's a good answer, Ryan West says, but I think Alan Tudyk would be a lot of fun. Yeah, he seems like a fun kind of guy. Orcus Dorcas, yeah, Uncle Arthur. That's right. From Bewitched, right? Yeah. How do you say you're old without saying you're old? Harrigan's got some runner-ups. He says Craig Ferguson, Eric Idle, Paul Rubens at the same table. Oh, now you guys are getting into the groove, man. You're putting some thought into this. Craig Ferguson, yeah, okay. Eric Idle, very nice. Orcus says Alan Tudyk running Firefly. Yeah. I haven't really given it much thought myself, even though I was thinking about this as a question, of course. And I think I go after, because there's two angles you can kind of take with this question. You could go, I really like to meet this person. I've been a fan of their work for a long time. And then there's I think they would just be a hoot at the table. Like, even if it's not a person who I'm just goo goo gaga or have the big starstruck thing, right? It would be like, who would be really just a good time at the table? And then there's the combination of both, of course. Some of us I would probably lean on the who would be a good time versus like Robert De Niro, probably be fun to meet or interesting to meet, but I probably wouldn't want him at my table, kind of thing. But I would say, Stephen King's a good one, even though I'm not a fan. I have never read a Stephen King novel. And it wouldn't be for some of the obvious ones. There's been some good ones that have been mentioned. I'm going to try to come up with something that's maybe a little different. Adrian, good to see you. Kevin, morning. For those of you that have just kind of shown up, the question of the day is, what famous person, define fame how you'd like, would you like at your table for a game session? Okay. And that's, for a campaign or a single session, that, whatever. And that could be author, actor, artist, rocker, whoever, somebody that's very well known, if you will. I guess famous is well known. Not to be confused with successful. Ooh, Harrigan says, Sigourney Weaver, I'll run Alien. Yeah, I don't know, man. Have we seen that one? Have we? That seems familiar. Nubis, Quentin Tarantino running Feng Shui. Yeah, that's good stuff. There you go. Joe says, I also wouldn't mind sitting down at a table run by Alex Kammer. Well, look at that. Alex, shout out to Alex Kammer, the director of Gamehole Con, friend of mine. We could arrange that, Joe, pretty easily. I think he's even running games at Gamehole Con now. So just as an FYI, like before where he was spectator. Tad says, Werner Herzog as a player in Delta Green. Yes, that would be very nice. That's my Werner Herzog. Ryan West, George R.R. Martin. The game would never end. Hey-o. I got to get a rim shot sound effect over here. Oh, Nubis adds, yeah, because it would keep getting rescheduled. Snap. Chris says, I'd run a game of Misspent Youth for Rage Against the Machine. Oh, there you go. You can get Tom. Tom's a gamer. He's been a game Gary Con, Tom Morello. Kevin Keneally says Dave Filoni running Star Wars. Seems like I don't know. You think he could do it? Think he could pull it off? Sounds good, Joe. You know the deal. Adrian says, I think it'd be super fun to play a Star Wars game with Ewan, I never know how to say his name, Ewan McGregor, M. Catron, John Favreau, and Delta Green. Jon Favreau and Delta Green. Interesting combination. I still haven't given you my answer yet. I'm trying to think. Let me think. I think I gotta have somebody that's pretty light in the personality business. Like I think I gotta have like Jack Black is an interesting guy. He'd be kind of hilarious. I'm not. I think some people would pick like Will Ferrell, but I'm not. I wouldn't go to Will. Nobody's mentioned Colbert. Let me think. Who would I pick? That would be fun. Gosh darn it. It's coming out. It's going to kill me like without coming up with one. Jackie Chan as a player in Feng Shui, Blake Ryan says. Colbert played D&D with some of the cast from Critical Role. Yeah, he actually did the Red Nose charity event with Mr. Mercer one year, one-on-one. A one-on-one game. I think it was his first time playing D&D like in 20 years or something. You know, and that video, if you haven't seen it, you know, I thought, well, you know, I'm not a big critter. I appreciate everything Mercer's done in the hobby. And Colbert, I have, you know, I'm not a huge fan. I find him amusing and liked him better probably on The Daily Show back in the day. But regardless, I have to say, if you watch that video, his energy at the table is just awesome. It is like it's like a 13-year-old kid discovering D&D for the first time. He's just super like just genuinely happy to be there, which is just awesome to see. You can just grasp the feelings that he was having when he was sitting down with Mercer. Very uplifting, I think. So if you haven't checked it out, just Google it. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Matt Mercer DMs, you know, Colbert. Chris S. says, I'd also be down with playing a game of Mass with Paul, Denny, and Bruce Timm. Well, there you go. Orcus Dorcas, Sylvester Stallone running a horrible game of Judge Dredd, but it would be worth it. Yeah. I was thinking, let's see, let me think about this. I'm being distracted by reading all your guys' comments. So first it would be like what game I'm thinking of, and then who would be good for it, or do I pick the person and then pick the game? You know, this is gonna be kind of a side tangent, but I think if I might go this route, because I didn't say Dead or Alive, right? I just got done AARP. I know, right? AARP. Yes, the whatever for retired people. They have a series on YouTube, and it caught my attention because it showed up in my stream, and each of the video had like a million views, which gets my attention, right? It's not the 3,000 or 300 views that Sean gets. And it was a dinner with Don Rickles. And it literally, they were all videotaped from like December to January, right before he died. Like he died, I think, in January of 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And it was like Amy Poehler so it was an individual that had a dinner with Don, and they were just kind of talking to him and having a conversation, kind of interview, but not really. And I think, you know, it was Amy Poehler was one of them. Who is it? Judd Apatow. He had Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese sit at the table with him because they were all in Casino together, or part of Casino, the movie. And they did flashbacks of Rickles' career, right? Like all the roasts that he did and how he did his routine. And he was one of the first, he was one of the first legit insult comics. it would be interesting to have Don Rickles in an RPG session. I think it would be mass chaos. Like it would never go anywhere, but it would be probably fairly hilarious. Like it would be just nonstop, just ripping on the NPCs, ripping on the PCs, ripping on the game master, looking at the players at the table. Just that would be maybe an interesting one. Like Don Rickles in his prime at an RPG game table, I would probably die. Like, and I'm not like, oh my God, Don Rickles is like, I don't follow. I mean, he's obviously of another generation, but just because I just saw that series and some of the things that he would do, and and his whole routine was never scripted. He never wrote any of his stuff down. Like it was just off the cuff all the time. So there you go. I think I'll say Don Rickles. Although when I was growing up, I thought he was annoying. Like, what's this guy do? He just insults everybody. Now I have an appreciation for him in my older years, if you want to say that. So Chris says, I mean, that game is better. Orcus says, oh, he's like talking to Orcus. I had it. Okay. Blake Ryan, Chuck Norris in Twilight 2000? Question mark? I don't know. Maybe. Oh, there you go, Ryan West. Mel Brooks. Yeah, Mel Brooks would be interesting. He would indeed. All right, Mel, think of History of the World, and we're going to play it as a role-playing game. Or Blazing Saddles. Oh, my God. Can you imagine a Western with Mel Brooks? Oh, my God, that would be hilarious. Orcus Dorcas, Pierce Brosnan, and running James Bond. I assume we are doing living famous people, and also I assume Connery wouldn't have the patience to make it through 15 minutes. Sweefer says, Dennis Leary, forget about it? Yeah, maybe. Dennis Leary, so for forget about it, people might not know this. It's a scenario by Just Imagination, Just Your Imagination. I think that's the title. That's Eric Lamoureux's company. One Shot Savage Worlds. 5 mobsters going to dump a guy out into the desert. Las Vegas, 1969. One shot. And along their path, things happen and they got to deal with it. And I would probably run that with I would love to run that with, what's his name? Tony Sirico? Is that his name? Paulie from Sopranos. He's passed, but I would probably want one of the guys that's a pinnacle in the mobster genre, right? Not De Niro though. I kind of tired of De Niro being in that space. Pesci, maybe? I don't know. Joe Pesci. Oh, reliving Goodfellas? Oh, I don't know. It might be too intense for me. Blake Ryan says Tales from the Loop run by Casey Kasem. Well, that would be interesting. Casey Kasem. The voice behind a lot of the Scooby-Doo. And the DJ. Weekly Top 40. I'm Casey Kasem. Who would you choose for a Middle Earth game, Adrian? Well, that's a good question. Oh, here we Nelson. He's got the whole cast of Carol Burnett, Harvey Korman, Vicki Lawrence, and Lyle Wagoneer. I just sit back and laugh my butt off. Well, yeah, what about, you forgot Tim? There's no Tim Conway in there? He could play the world's fastest man. Can you imagine him showing up to your RPG session playing the world's fastest man? Or slowest. Is it the world's slowest man? I can't remember. Obviously, he's very slow, but I didn't know if it was the opposite. Roger French, morning. Roger, if you had a famous person you could play a RPG session with, who would it be? They could run or play. Don Rickles, when I said Don Rickles, I may have him run the game. Like and picture the person actually knowing the game. Because as a player, I don't know if I could control Don. And I just never would go anywhere. Schwarzenegger running Hyperborea or Conan 2D20. Yeah. That's a stretch, right? Ryan Westwood says, I think Ray Liotta would be would be good at the table. Probably referring to my Forget About It game with the bunch of mobsters. Yeah. Zwiefer adds George Carlin would have been great as well. Michael Holland, I'd play Brindlewood Bay with Angela Lansbury. Well, of course you would. Or even Matlock, right? The original Matlock. Who played the original Matlock? Was that Andy Griffith? Or Perry Mason, right? Who played Perry Mason? Perry Mason, I guess Brindlewood Bay is the ladies, right? The older ladies, the Golden Girls, right? That's there you go. Chris has got it. How about Brindlewood Bay with the cast of the Golden Girls? There you go. That is a con game right there, right? A one shot. Brindlewood Bay, and all the characters you make are the Golden Girls. This freaking guy. This guy. I'd play in Forbidden Lands game run by Sean P. Kelly. Roger. You're going to have that opportunity, buddy. You're going to have that opportunity. Absolutely. I will make that dream come true, sir. just like a dream. Give me a break. Zwiefer says, I think comedians to the list because they seem to be great at thinking on their feet improv. Plus, it helps to never take yourself too seriously, which I go to your point exactly. Like getting as too serious of an actor at the table, it's just no. Oh my God, Joe Swick, Middle Earth game with Jerry Stiller. He'd be great in either role, player or GM. He says. Oh, Joe Swick, Rick Moranis. The hits just keep coming. The hits just keep on coming. Orcus Dorcas, Werner Herzog, running whatever. I just want to hear him narrate anything. Yeah. Somebody with the voice, right? Adrian L., Vin Diesel, and Mecha Hack Game. Hee hee ha ha. Oh, God. Robin Williams. Oof. Says Lou. Roger French, Brindlewood Bay with Agatha Christie. Wow. Is she still around? I don't even know. She can't be. But is she? Sometimes I know these people that from my childhood, like they've been writing books for so long. I don't know if they're still around. Peter Falk is Columbo. Peter Falk's Columbo character at the table. Christian, good to see you. Alien with Sigourney Weaver. The One Ring with Hugo Weaving. Yes. Or a Matrix game with Hugo. Roger said Delta Green with Demon Lindelof. Liminal Spaces with Stephen King. So many. That's a good amount. That's a good RPG player pool. Thank you for participating in this. I don't think I've seen so many responses come so quickly and more than once. Oh, dude, Keanu, for sure. Like, it'd just be like a genuinely nice guy. Who would you have at your table who would just know who'd be a nice guy no matter what the thing is? And Michael Holland says, Keanu Reeves, man, just about anything. He is America's sweetheart for the guys, right? Like, I think. Lou says, add the cast of Whose Line. Gonna have to be West Marches. Yeah. Orcus Dorcas adds Peter Cullen running Transformers. Yeah, so many. So now you take all these ideas, okay? You take all these ideas, all these actors, actresses, and authors and artists, and you make it a meta game at your one-shot con game. So you play an actor playing a role-playing game. So instead of choosing the character, you have to choose the actor. Then you pick the actors. Then the actor picks the character, and then you run a game. Epic, right? Hey, you could. Hey, steal it. Go ahead. I give you permission. Go nuts. There you go. There you go. That's a lot of goodness there in that place. And there with some of the list. Thanks for joining. Did I miss anybody who joined? I think a couple people might have slid in there and might not have commented. And Jim Carrey for Dungeon Crawl Classics. Adrian says it'd be interesting to take a celebrity and genre hop them into a game they weren't known for and see what happens. Yeah, play and see what happens. 2 other players at any table, John Candy and Rodney Dangerfield. Oh, man. Got to go with fellow Canadian John Candy, right? And Rodney Dangerfield. Oh, jeez. John Candy, Rodney Dangerfield, and Don Rickles at a walk into an RPG convention. There's the joke. Roger French says, didn't Stork from Happy Jacks do something like that with Tales from the Floating Vagabond, where every character was a Harrison Ford character? I've seen people do that. Like, I don't know if it was that specific game, but I've heard people like making one character, like the characters in the game. Like if you were to play a feng shui game, which probably wouldn't be too cool. I mean, wouldn't be bad. Is that you had like the 3 or 4 characters that like Sylvester Stallone has actually played. So you got Rocky Balboa, John Rambo, Cobra. Who else has he been? Probably the one with what's her name? The lady from the Golden Girls. Victor Wyatt says Twilight 2000 with the cast of MASH. But yeah. Yeah, you got to. That's interesting where Joe says, I could play Robert Downey Jr. playing a dude who looks like another dude. I guess, yeah, maybe. They had Lewis Black, Chris Farley. Oh, God. Gilbert Gottfried. Lewis Black running Call of Cthulhu. So many. Tara Strong running Tales of Equestria. So we like Roger French, Chris Farley at any table. Oh, Tropic Thunder. Got it. That's right. Well, that's like Eddie Murphy and the Clumps, right? Like he plays them yeah, he plays almost all the characters. Good stuff. I can't look at the chat anymore because people are going to just keep naming names. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. All right. Good stuff. I know Jerry Ryan's gotten into gaming. Somebody had her at a table recently for D&D. I can't remember who it was. I thought they were a showrunner of a showrunner. Don't know who that is. They knew Jerry or they knew a friend, and then they were a friend of Jerry's, or was it? Oh, it was the one guy who played. God, I don't know the actor's name. You guys probably know this. So he was the guy in Picard. I think, yeah, Picard, the series. I can't remember the actor. He played the captain of the ship that those guys kind of had to take over. And so I think he plays, he's a gamer. He's been to Gen Con. He's taken pictures from Gen Con, put it on his Twitter account. His name escapes me. And he brought Jerry Ryan over to play a game, I believe. I don't know if it was D&D, actually. Could have been. And somebody ran it in their house and stuff. And so Jerry Ryan playing like Star Trek Adventures would be interesting. Probably a little too close to home. Like that way to stretch that dynamic range. Yes, that's it. Michael Holland got it. Star Trek Picard, Metallus Stashwick introduced Jerry Ryan to D&D. That's the one. Yep. Thanks, guys. I knew I could count on you guys. Look out, at least Michael anyway. Probably with the cast. Yeah, that's a good one, Christian. All right, let's get into some stuff, I guess. I don't know. This week, well, let's start with. Well, let's. I'm gonna take a look at this quick, because I'm just curious out of personal reasons. Dolmenwood, where is it at? 1 million. Cross the threshold probably overnight sometime. As we record this August 19, 2023, 8,000 backers, $1 million, $1 million in 20 days to go. So I think I don't know if it's going to peter out at $1 million. You know, I think there was talks of, can it hit 1.5? That might be a stretch. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, that's, I'm sure if we had the average backer level, the biggest one is going to be, let's see, there's almost 3,000 at the standard level. It's probably going to be the highest, right? 1,700 at the limited plus loot. That's $190 level. So the retailer tier looks interesting because there's only 18. So the biggest level, or with the one with the most amount of people, is the $2,800 level, which is $95 core books in print and PDF. So $95 biggest level, so about $100, right? So yeah. Let's should we check out Rob's? See where he's at, Weird Wizard. Is there another big one I'm not aware of? I think there is another one that's probably under the radar. That's a pretty decent sized one. I think I have a bookmark to bring up. Shadow of the Demon Lord, 286, with 2,800 backers. So that's still kind of staying at that one pledge level, because I think when we brought it up last time, it was almost the same, right? $100 per backer, like pretty much almost in line. This one has 18 days to go. Fine campaigns. No, I'm not bringing these up to compare, even though it's kind of hinted at, I think, but fine games, fine designers. So this one's highest backer level with the most amount of backers by far and away are going to be the Expert Wizard, which is $100. So that kind of adds up, right? That checks out. The thing is I don't know. This is another thing too. I don't know about Dolmenwood necessarily, but I think Shadow of the Weird Wizard, Rob may do So this is the thing. Some of us are, Rob's at, almost 300K, and does that meet Rob's expectations? Was he hoping to break 1 million? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe somebody's interviewed him since he's went live with his Kickstarter. But one thing that's not being considered here, or at least maybe not brought up, at least by me, was what happens after the Kickstarter, right? It could be where Rob makes up like ground in the retail space a little bit more than, I don't know about Dahlmanwood, but I could see Rob's being Shadows of the Demon Lord has gotten quite a bit of distribution, I'm guessing, in that area. So yeah. So I just wanted to check and see like where they were at. With 18 days to go, Rob's probably going to do, he'll probably do over 300 maybe, right? Right. And Michael says, I agree. If Weird Wizard is anything like Demon Lord, Rob will get earnings on that one for a while. Yeah, I think I got to move this over because I can't see the chat because of my screen. Whoop. Hold on. I got to do something here. My stuff is messed up. Oh my God. My screen has just gone bonkers because I moved a pop-up window and now all my stuff's all over the place. Bear with me, folks. Oh my God. Where is the doc? Oh, here it is. I gotta stop a recording and it's all messed up. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So I think Rob will definitely, I don't know if he'll do necessarily better. It's not a competition, ladies and gentlemen. Sean, hey, Sean, it's not a competition. Or is it? It could be. Oh, for Pete's sakes, this frickin' thing. See, I don't have my monitor. I can't see the edge of my monitor, and therefore I can't dock this thing. All right, there we go. I think I'm good. I think I'm good in the neighborhood. Sorry for technical difficulties. X-Crawl just ended. That's a good one. 1.3 mil. Wow. Brendan LaSalle, good for him. That's awesome. Fantastic. Good to see. See you later, Joe. Thanks for stopping by. Weird Wizard is more than double Demon Lord, I believe. I think last time. But the Shadow of the Demon Lord was quite a while, wasn't it? Obajima Island. That's the other big one right now. It is. Obajima Island. Ojima Island Kickstarter. 5e campaign. Oh, jeez. Just 5e. $10,000 goal. 12 days to go. 1.3 million. Wow. Tales from the Tall Grass. Is this 1985 games? Is this like is this an IP that I'm not aware of? Inspired by 250-page campaign setting inspired by the wondrous worlds featured in Studio Ghibli films and the beloved Legend of Zelda game series. Oh, interesting. Yeah, not me. But that's okay. Doesn't have to be, but definitely running under my radar. Could see how it would be successful. And this one's biggest pledge is got to be the PDF and hardcover book for $60. 6,000 backers. Well, how many backers does this thing have total? It's a lot. 12,000 backers. Holy cow. Yeah, that'll get you up there. Yeah, we need to stop focusing on $1 million Kickstarters as a litmus test for success. Do we? Do we? If a Kickstarter funds, it's a success. That's it. I don't agree. I respectfully disagree, Orcus Dorcas. Because some of these guys put their they put the bar lower so that it makes, like, I think we talked, like somebody brought this up. Hey, I'm famous RPG and I've run 2 Kickstarters that have done $500,000 each. My goal for this project is going to be $5,000. Funded in 2 seconds. Like, I think the success of the Kickstarter on the front is probably not the same as the success on the Kickstarter on the back. Because I think of that reason. That's just my take. I could be wrong. Come on. I think they play the game a little bit, right? Well, we could probably get 5,000 back, or we could probably get $5,000. No problem. So let's set it at, consider funding at 3,000, and then it'll, we'll hit it sooner. It'll make it a hot crowdfunding item. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But regardless, if you've got a project on Kickstarter, first of all, awesome. Even if you don't have a project on Kickstarter and you've got it out to sales from people, awesome. It takes a lot, I'm sure, to do that. So, no, everybody should be recognized. Even the ones that fail. They put themselves out there. What in the hell is going on with this? Wow, there is some really... I use Instapaper for some of these bookmarks, and I've got stuff in there from like 2 months ago, and I know I deleted it. Like, I don't think it syncs across all my platforms properly. Anyways, maybe I just a hard Nope. This is so bizarre. Like, I still have the Pathfinder Never Outsold 4 ED&D on here, and if you go onto my laptop, it's gone. Like, it's so weird. So much for, like, syncing across platforms. Some weird caching shit going on. Anyways, so now it's just messing with my groove. Even if a Kickstarter delivers, it doesn't mean it was successful. Well, that's true, too. We don't know. Kickstarter funding is not a success. We have zero idea what the business models of these folks are. Some people lowball to snowball. Yeah. Some people don't know how their costs are going to hit after the fact. Yeah. Just ask Dave Beatty. It was successfully funded. And maybe he would say, hey, I got my product done. I had people crowdfund it and I got it out the door. But if I took it on the chin financially, I mean, okay, but it also depends on how you define success, right? In any way, shape, or form. The one thing, this one was interesting to me. Since we're not talking about crowdfunding, I'll just work backwards like we usually do. This one was interesting to me. This is a $10,000 goal, The Secret Art of Game Mastery. I'm intrigued, and I'm thinking of kicking in for the PDFs of this one. And it's like $15. Well, that's for the one book. I think if you want all 3, it's going to be, I think it's more. It's got to be more, right? Digital collection, $30. So I could probably wait till after the Kickstarter. I got to imagine I can get these in PDF at any time. $245,000 with 3,000 backers, 19 days to go. And this is by... Where is the profile? See these frames they got in here. You got the DM layer. They've created 3. They've backed 10. Luke Hart. Now, some of us may be like, I don't need to know the secret art of game mastery or note taking or preparation, but I find I'm intrigued by these only because of like the banter we have on podcasts and when we run our games and the different types of games, I don't know if this has I'd have to double check with this. I looked into it too deep, because there may be different ways to GM certain games, right? So what's the secret art of game mastery when you're doing 5e versus Brindlewood Bay? That might be a whole different question. I'm guessing he's probably focused on more trad games. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm interested to see other people's methods and see if I can at least, maybe gather a nugget that could help me hone in on my own game. Or like, I'm not an actual play watcher listener. And I think I've brought this up before. We don't know what goes on behind the screen when we watch an actual play. We don't know how Matt Mercer's coming up with the stuff that he does. It could be totally off the cuff, total improv. I know he's probably shown his like legal pad of paper, taking notes and things of that nature. But is there a methodology or a certain approach? The Sly Flourishes, Lazy Dungeon Master is a perfect example. I think Mike and what he did with that book is very interesting. I've used his Notion template. I've done a video on it on this channel, and how to use Notion and kind of modeling it after Mike's outline and some of those things. So it's just more of a personal kind of research project. Because I think the problem I'm having personally is I think regardless of what books I read and what games I run, I probably run them all very, very, very similar. Because I think it's like sliding into comfort zones. And I think I've got to I got to take a different approach and see if I can get out of a comfort zone. And I think as I get older, it might be tougher. Christian says, I still have my Engine publishing books and revisit them on occasion. Yeah, those are good. Phil Vecchione, behind a lot of those, very good. And I should probably bust those out too, and like take some notes. And sometimes you get so much advice. You listen to all the podcasts out there, like, hey, you could do this, you could do that. And here's what I find that's useful. And the thing is, it's such take what you can, take what helps you and leave what doesn't. It's probably never been more applicable when it comes to something like game mastering. Like, I really love 3x5 note cards. It's the bomb. Like, that's my jam. It works. Like, Feeling Good Lou, he's a member of the community, friend, played with him. And, when he plays Delta Green, it's 3x5 index cards. And he says it's easy. It's like writing it down. It puts it in his brain. I tried it once for Impossible Landscapes. I think it lasted first 5 minutes of a game session. And then I was like, whoop, there it goes. So I don't know. So it's like a weird space. I've played with Mike Shea before. Nice. Aside from prep, he is really good at adapting on the fly too. Yeah. Well, and this is a whole nother, I'll kind of go on to a diatribe, but part of me, everybody, some of you already know from Gaming and BS, like I was very much down on published adventures, and I still am to some point, right? I ran Impossible Landscapes. I've got some really good scenarios. I got the Dracula dossier. Some of those are, of course, like, well, this one's kind of a sandboxy campaign. Impossible Landscapes can kind of go off in different directions. So it's not necessarily like a super linear type of approach than maybe some other scenarios. But part of me is like really kind of trying to bust out of running published games. But it's warm and comfortable and cozy when I have that thing, right? Creatively. But I don't know. I think I need to abbreviate some stuff, and I think it'll be better and just letting the players go and not, as game masters, at least for me, in the back of my brain, there is still that what happens if I'm not ready for the unexpected. And I think a lot of game masters or a lot of people in RPGs that like just put like run your own game. That is probably one of the biggest hurdles is them, one of them is like looking like a fool, right? Which we know isn't the case. Like we all know it. Looking in hindsight, it's like, look, you're not going to look like a fool. Trust me. Like you're going to be fine. If you're playing with friends, they're going to be supportive and all that. We hope, right? But a lot of it is like, what if I don't know the rule that comes up? How do I handle it? How do I adjudicate it? What happens if I'm running an adventure and they just decide to go left when they should go right? What do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do. And all this kind of give them advice and just say, just roll with it. Just go, hey, it's all good. Just, make something up. They'll never know. What do I make up? Bust out. Bust it out, man. So I think these types of guides are interesting, not only because I do think there are things that we can all glean from them. And some are probably written better than others, and some probably offer, I don't know what better advice is, but maybe more insightful advice than others. Because I think there is, let's face it. We all know what goes into kind of what a game master needs to do at the table, amongst even out of the table or outside the table. And there is kind of at 100-foot view some very similar. We've got, and I say a traditional game master player type game. We got to paint the scene. We got to tell them kind of what's going on and embrace the world and the tone of the game. Session 0, make sure everybody's on the same page, setting expectations properly across the board. And setting expectations, I mean like CATS, tone, right? Concept, aim, subject matter, all that stuff. Like, okay, we're all good. And all right, let's start. And they gotta interpret the rules. Whether it is like rules is written, this is the way we roll, or loosey-goosey, rulings over rules. Like, it doesn't matter. Somebody has to be the arbiter, and that's the game master. Where am I going with this? So I think like the new like people, how do we get more people to not worry about being a game master and getting over those reservations? I don't know. Don't try to integrate everything at once. Let's see. Where am I? Victor says, read the advice books, but take one thing that sticks out to you intentionally. Use it take one thing that sticks out to intentionally use in the next few games. If it helps, keep it. If not, then toss it. Then repeat the process. Yeah. Don't try to integrate everything at once. For sure, I would agree. Chris says, my best tip for getting out of your comfort zone and stretching as a GM is to play a game that will push your GMing style assumptions. Not a bad piece of advice. Games that have procedural stuff that gets you out of your normal reactions as a GM. Christian says, if you know the NPCs, the world, motivation, resources, it's easy to pivot. Focus on the world and the characters and less on a specific path. Yeah. Okay. Orcus says, I think playing with different age groups expand your repertoire as a GM. I have run games for kids, teens, and groups of adults younger than me and have found I need to adopt a different style, which I end up using with my normal groups and making it better, fresh, and new. Yes. All very good stuff, for sure. All very good stuff. We should just put all this book in a book, and then we'll grow rich, and we can all retire and play games online together. Right? It's not a one size fits all. Plus, different games are run. They have to take into consideration different things with different games, right? There's some games that have meta currency. There's some that don't. Some are more like, oh, hey, you've got narrative control, players. So part of it is, what are you going to feel comfortable tackling, and what do you like about game mastering? And then, I don't know, maybe aligning that to the game you play and run, but then you also have to have the players on board in the same manner. Because if you are like, I love giving narrative control to players, and the players are like, what? No, that's going to be a mismatch. If you like world building, but you don't like the rules part, then, something rules, then it's like rulings may be a better way to go. I think some of the folks that appreciate, not all, but some of the older school games, they might, like the DM specifically, might love world building. I love world building. It's great. It's my world. It's awesome. I've been working on this. I've been running this thing for like 30 years. It's great. But they may not be rules intensive, right? There may be a reason why they're not playing something crunchier and have a lot of rules in the game, because it allows them to focus on the world building piece. So then a game like Swords and Wizardry might be more accommodating to that type of game master. But you also have to have the players that are in for playing Swords and Wizardry, and not having all the rules. Anyways, the struggle continues. I try to run the kind of game I want to play in. Not a bad model. That's a solid tip to facilitate a good game. Yeah. That's a good mantra, Roger, for sure. But I don't know what that means to me. And is it the same game your players would want? That's the trick, right? That's where all these game groups fall apart. They do. Like, fucking guys are playing freaking Comedy Central, and I'm trying to be a serious tone, like high risk, doom and gloom. Side tangent. So anyway, there you go. I may kick in for these. I may kick in for this and get the PDFs and see what it has to say, and then maybe devour them. And the secret art of note taking, I'm interested. Like, how big a book is that? Because there's also something to be said about over prepping and jotting everything down. And I'm running a published game, and then I have for one session I have 20 pages of notes, but I also have a published game here. Like, it can get completely out of control. One of the parts I'm having a problem with published adventures is I think we get super conscious on what's in the scenario. And like, well, what if I don't remember the name of the hospital? What if I don't remember the name of the NPC? That's going to affect everything in the future. So I can't run it too loose. Can I? Well, of course you can. But then, consistency also plays a role with keeping players in the world, right? When things are relatively consistent, and when it's not, that's a switch in the game where the players are like, wait a minute, hold on a second. This has always worked like this, but now it doesn't. Something must be going on. So they translate your mistake to an in-game thing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? It could be certainly a trigger to be like, aha, yes, I planned that as a game master, write that down. But it can screw things up. The secret art of note-taking. Buy your book, fill it out, fill it with notes, buy another one of our books, rinse and repeat. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, there you go. Thought that was interesting. I may check them out. I don't know what to tell you. Let's see. Let's see. Just picking out some things. Farsight blogger, it's the journey, not the destination blog. Deep Space. Farsight Games presents Deep Space, a simple space adventure TTRPG. Out of the UK, Earth, August 17th, 2023, Farsight Games is happy to present a new and simple science fiction action tabletop role-playing game, Deep Space. Blast across the stars and explore the universe in this simple 4-page rules light role-playing game. All you need is paper, pencils, and a D12 or 2. 100 years into our future, humanity has discovered how to harness the power of a singularity, put it into an engine, and use it to hurl themselves across space to far-off worlds and star systems. The singularity engine helped us slip the surly bonds of Earth. But we took our problems with us. The nations of the Earth did not unite in exploration as expected, but instead spread their ideology and petty squabbles across the stars. What? No, that's never going to happen. After the brutal Stellar War ended with a new antimatter bomb decimating an entire planet, an arms race began, and now a new Cold War has descended on humanity. I forgot to put these in the chat. So check that out. Nelson says, names kill me. I have a hell of a time remembering names. I'll get flustered looking for a damn name. Touche, man. Struggle is real. Struggle is real. For sure. Yeah, we go back to that one guy. What was his name? Yeah, you go back to him. Ty Prunty, good to see you. The prep that works for me is the right way to prep for me. That's true. What is that, though? Help us out, man. Shout out, bestow your knowledge upon us, Ty. Enlighten us. Names are the worst. Yeah. Roger says it's not so much the prep that worries him. It's finding the info that I prepped. For sure. Like a published adventure and your notes can be very similar in length and density and confusion and shitty layout and hard to find the information. No question. Like, yep. Yeah. I get it. Like, yeah. So many things, right? Hank's ICRPG Hass. I'm guessing it meant house, right? Sean, our sage advice is not meant to make sense. Prep or not prep, there is no try. Yeah, just do or do not. I don't know. Let's see, ICV2, I don't know why this is on here. Maybe they got wind. 3 more Evil Genius books announced. So maybe I should have just went to Evil Genius Games' website. So plus Highlander Total Recall launched. So Military Handbook, Weapons Locker, and The Garage. Evil Genius Games. So these are the guys that are doing D20 Modern using the 5th edition space, right? They've been brought up multiple times on the stream. So these are for 2024. Military Handbook, Weapons Locker, and The Garage. The company has also updated plans for Highlander and Total Recall books for its Everyday Heroes system. 3 new books were written by Gulf War tank commander and game industry veteran Rich Redman, whose writing credits include D&D, Marvel Superheroes Adventure Game, Pathfinder, Star Wars, Dark Matter, and D20 Modern. Supported by a team of military veterans and active personnel. Ooh, that is interesting to me. The 3 books draw on their military experience to create a more authentic tabletop gaming experience. Yeah, but were they in artillery? They didn't contact me. What about mess hall? Were they part of Air Force? Military. Oh, my goodness. The Military Handbook explores the day-to-day of active military duty both in the field and on garrison duty. Book offers rules for the physical and mental effects of combat, including hit location-based damage, battlefield hygiene and fatigue, as well as morale, trauma, and PTSD. Some serious stuff there. Rounding out the book is advice on how to run games based on military personnel for groups with different levels of combat experience. Struggle is real. Something I've been meaning to do a video on, like, oh, you're running a military-based game. Great. What if the dink at the table is the highest ranking? How does that work? Meh, meh. See you, Harrigan. Weapons Locker provides in-depth exploration of weapons across the broad swath of humanity history, from primitive weapons all the way to what modern and near future arms. So yeah, I'm on the fence with weapons. Some people love weapons books, like, and I'm specifically referring to modern day. Like if we're playing World War II, Delta Green, I want a weapons book. Spycraft, espionage, insert espionage game, RPG here. Let's get a book full of all the cool weapons and what they do. To gun, machine gun, rifle. Like, you want to make gun a specific Glock, 50 caliber Desert Eagle, fine. It's still gun in the book. But if you want to add the descriptor, I could care less. I just don't know if it matters of a huge table of everything that's going to be shooting bullets and doing pretty big damage. The only caveat is maybe the caliber. But even then, you get shot with a 22 in the right area, it's good to kill you. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. But I get it. Some people are like, I just love all the gun stats. But Sean, they have different ranges, and they've got different size magazines for them. And they weigh differently. Some get dirtier than others and malfunction more often. Like, yeah, I know. I was in the Army, but still, RPG wise, Newis says, same here. Prep is total chaos for me. All right. We should get a t-shirt, Dubis. RPG prep anarchist. Chaos. Chris says, I hardly ever talk about prep because Phil from MMP wrote a book called Never Unprepared, which is like hacking meets getting stuff done so you can figure out your most efficient way to prep. Great book to help you find your best way to prep, sure. I still think people have things to say. So they're D20 Modern, folks. I didn't finish the whole article. Check it out if you want. Link in the chat. For fantasy role play, Warhammer type. I don't know if you guys seen this bundle. Have you seen this bundle? I gotta enunciate. Bundle on drive-through PDF. It's like a $290 PDF bundle is $50. So if you want Warhammer Fantasy, I don't know, is this a particular second edition? Okay, so it's a little older, but if you want all the PDFs for second edition, look at this thing. It's pretty obnoxious. It's an 83% savings. So go and grab it while it's hot. Thought I'd throw it out there for anybody that's sitting on the Warhammer Fantasy Classic fence and might not have it, and you're okay with PDFs. So let's think those are the onesie twosie things that I had. Oh, here's this one thing I also wanted to bring up. I really wish Jen would respond. Jen, if you're out there, she's never going to see this, but whatever. This is a tweet from Judge Jen, who works for DCC. Some of you know her, Jen Brinkman. She's been on Gaming and BS. As a matter of fact, our DCC episodes of Gaming and BS are still getting pretty good amount of traction, which is crazy because we did it years ago and we had Jen on the show, and it was one of our most successful shows, I think. And it probably didn't hurt that I don't think a link to those episodes were in the DCC book. It might have been, but I know our podcast was listed because of that. So anyways, little humble brag, but Gen Con Aftermath, I don't know if this will show up there. There we go. These are the Gen Con 2023 RPG tickets sold, which I thought was interesting. I asked her for a source. I don't know if she came back and let us know. The original tweeter of this was a Rogue Caliber, Ben, who I think I also follow on Twitter. But I don't know where Ben got this info. So ranked number one was D&D, and there were 10,000 tickets sold at Gen Con. Now, keep in mind, Gen Con had probably 70,000 people. So, and the total of all these come to 33,000. Because it does have other RPGs at the bottom, which is 11,000. So other RPGs as a whole sold more than D&D. As a whole. Like probably Forged in the Dark, PBTA, anything that's not listed here, right? Those big ones are not. Throw in all the old, there's so many RPGs, right? So it would make sense that there's the power numbers. Good morning, Eileen. So Pathfinder, the second most, but by just single system, I guess, comes in at just shy of 2,500. Look at that gap. So D&D 29%, on the verge of 30. Pathfinder 7.4. It's like Roll20 metrics. It's such a dynamic. And there is, the Professor Dungeon Master, dungeon terrain guy, right? It's kind of, I call him sweater vest guy. I'm not in his circles. What can I say? He wanted, for the month of July, he wanted to promote indie RPGs, which I really wanted to do. And I think I'm going to do anyway, right? I'm going to, regardless, throw up a video that's going to outline some independent RPGs, small press, because of this reason. D&D and WotC has huge budgets. There are folks that hitch their wagon to that group, which I understand, and they probably tend to do pretty well because you kind of go where the numbers are if you want. But let's, help the little guys out, right? So, yeah, just always a big gap from the Juggernaut to the next thing. Dungeon Crawl Classics is number 3 on this list. And they are about half, a little less than half the amount of Pathfinder. No, not any small accomplishment by any means. And kudos to DCC. Out of all the RPGs, man, DCC number 3, most tickets sold individual game, 3.5%. These are all. This is all RPG. There's plenty of other tickets that are sold at Gen Con, right? That's probably where the other 40,000 tickets are, if anybody even bought any. Even above the Mighty Call of Cthulhu, big, which I heard is big in Japan. Cthulhu had shy of 1,000, and they were at 2.8%. So, the drop off is pretty much right around the 2.3% where Starfinder ends. 788 Starfinder tickets, and then Legend of the Five Rings, and then it kind of goes down from there. Interesting numbers. I really wish I had a source for this. I don't know. Maybe they provide it to everybody that's kind of heading up their groups there. I don't know. I don't know. There's other questions there. Can we get a percentage of how many seats were filled versus games offered? I know Pathfinder games tend to fill up fast. Doesn't know. No World of Darkness, none at all. That would probably be under other RPGs. But that's also a good point. Like, that's somebody saying, look at WEG. Star Wars WEG is on there. Out doing Savage Worlds. Old Gods of Appalachia, because Eileen contributed to those numbers, right? 342 tickets sold. Eileen, do you know these numbers? Did she? So many people couldn't get a ticket. I wonder how many we would have had if we would have had sat everyone on the wait list. Do you know? Hey, what's up, Caverna? Michael says, I tried to get Pathfinder tickets, couldn't get a single one. Eileen, do you know did you guys get this? Like, do you guys get this breakdown? This is from Jen Brinkman, or actually, it's from Ben at Rogue Caliber on Twitter. I gotta imagine. I think Ben's a DCC. Who is Ben? Ben is Dogfather. Eberron is my Vice. Lost in Ravenloft. Under a Dark Sun. Friendly Neighborhood Shadowrunner. Earthdawn Disciple. Art Dumps with credit. So Ben's all over the place. But he posted this, and Jen was like, woot woot, DCC. So I didn't know like how they get this. I haven't seen the numbers from anyone personally, but I'm sure someone got those. Okay, so does Gen Con, I would imagine? I'm just trying to verify like the source of where they get this stuff. Yeah, wow, that is cool that WEG is still there. A great game. Yeah, for sure. 317 games of WEG. Or tickets. So if you divide these by 4, maybe 6, depending on how big the tables are, right? It's probably tell you how many games are being run. So if you're Star Wars role-playing game WEG and say the average con table's at 5, 60, what is my math? 62-ish games. It's pretty good. And how does this affect other cons? Like if I went to Alex Cameron and said, hey man, have you seen this? I wonder if he's got numbers for his. Because it's going to be different for every con, right? We were talking about cons and trad games, right? Like it's how I got kicked off on the Discord about trad games. What's a trad game? But it was really about what games are offered at different conventions, right? Metatopia is different than Gamehole Con, and different than, I forgot the other one that I just showed up that has like scholarships and stuff. I can't remember, but Eileen says I had 37 players over the whole weekend, if I can math. 37 players across how many games? 6 games. All Old Gods. Wow. I think the Old God numbers are most impressive for the space they had to get that many players through games. It's impressive for sure. Kudos to them. Because obviously Old Gods, right, hasn't been out that long, but it's got an IP. It's an IP, right? It's recognized. 6 games, had a table of 7. Nice. 6 games, that's a lot. It's 24 hours, right? 4-hour slots. Yeesh. Old Gods, 342. And, Monty Cook's flagship games, Cypher. Lumping in with the other RPGs. That's got to be interesting to be in the Monty Cook Games meetings. So I wanted to bring this up. I thought it was interesting. I always like the numbers, right? Trying to get insight into the hobby, what's going on, What are sales numbers? Who's playing what? Because it all has to do with the big juggernaut. Like, who some of these games going to bubble up? Now, next year, which ones of these are going to be Critical Role games? Yeah. Yeah, and it's like Eileen said, it pretty much launched to the public at Gen Con. That's crazy. I mean, Old Gods is Cypher, but it was categorized separately. Oh, I see. Okay, good to know. I didn't know how much of Cypher crossed over. But that's good to know. Appreciate the clarification. There you go. Yeah, and that's a hard one when you're somebody like Monty who's got Cypher system, and then they got Numenera, and then they've got, the Strange and a couple others. They got Old Gods. So yeah, these are just going to be based on, I imagine, just the game. Well, look at Savage Worlds though. Kind of lumped into that weird, like multiple different, like Savage Worlds is different than Star Wars role-playing game WEG. Because Savage Worlds is like it's just the system. Oh, there's Candela Obscura. Look at that. Candela Obscura, 294 tickets sold. 0.9%. God, there's so much potential. Right? That's why some people are like, oh man, could you just not play 5e and play other things? We just... That's why I think some of these designers just go bonkers and say, oh, there's better games out there like mine. If I could get just like 20 more people to play my game. Because I wonder what that what that trickle down is. Trickle down economics, folks. Let's talk about it. Just kidding. Isn't Daggerheart CR's game? Oh, yes, both are on the list. Oh, is it? Daggerheart? Where is it? Daggerheart. There it is, number 12. Yeah, Daggerheart, 359, 1.1%. And is that out? Is Candela Obscura game Critical Role game? It is. Candela Obscura, the live play is like very Call of Cthulhu, like it's Victorian era horror, right? They were working with Double Exposure to get GMs to run their game at Gen Con. I see. Good to know. Good to know. There you go. I'll link to the tweet. You guys can pull it up and look at it if you want. Retweet it. Go nuts. Ask questions. That's, I think, to the photo. Orcus Dorcas D6 Star Wars is amazing to see. Now I want to run some. That is pretty nuts. I was thinking about running Hyperspace D6. Roger in the chats run that. It's a trimmed down version of Star Wars WEG. FYI. I did not. I'm going to put this out there. I meant to talk about this when it was live, but I think it was coming to an end. Just so I don't know if you guys knew this. The spattered patina of the Barbarous Blades. Did anybody get in on this? So I'll link to the Kickstarter, but it's over, right? I know that. So when everybody sees this, I know the Kickstarter has ended, but it was successful. It was for Weird Frontiers, Dave Beatty's game. It's good to see it. So it had a $500 goal. It funded at $3,800, had 198 backers. Physical copy was like $16. I imagine it's going to go on sale somewhere so you can grab it. Dave's got to be ecstatic. Like, I did a game and then some other guy did a scenario for it. This is fantastic. It's awesome. Right? PDF $7. There you go. There you go. Just wanted to put that out there because it was good to see Dave get a third party to do some work for his game. I thought it was super awesome. Like, super awesome. It's like super awesome that he was like took time out of his day to do a game like that for Dave Beatty's Weird Frontiers. Yeah, all right. Let's go into new news digested. If I can get to the right page. Ian World. Thanks, Ian World, for putting all this stuff together. We talked about this one. Tel Dore. This is interesting. So Tel Dore, this is by Critical Role, third party. It's now part of D&D Beyond. Like first third party product on D&D Beyond. Partnered content. That's what it was. So Wizards of the Coast has begun releasing third-party partnered content to D&D Beyond. And the first product available is Darrington Press's Tal Dore campaign, Setting Reborn by Critical, the campaign guide to the world of Critical Role. 5th edition Level Up, project page for upcoming EN World Kickstarter for Level Up. Advanced 5e starter box is now live. Jeremy Crawford, a Wizards confirming an interview with Comic Book that we have not seen the last of the campaign settings already released for D&D. So they've already released Ravenloft, Eberron, Spelljammer, Dragonlance, and Planescape, or will be Planescape. But there's plans to go return to already released stuff. My buddy Jeff's playing the Dragonlance scenario. He's not a fan. I don't know why. He just doesn't like it. I asked him if it was the Game Master. The Game Master, I think I mentioned this. Game Master ran a mean game of Avernus he liked. He's not a fan of the Dragonlance one. BKOM Studios and Paizo announced the Pathfinder Gallowspire Survivors video game will launch on Steam September 14th. It'd be interesting to know, like, the break, like, these private companies can't really, they don't have to release any numbers, but I'm interested to know, like, how much money is Paizo making off of video games and some of those things that I'm not familiar with versus their RPG line. Cults of RuneQuest, the Lightbringers, Cults of RuneQuest, the Earth Goddess. So Chaosium released these two new titles for RuneQuest. They expand the Pantheon of Gods. Available. Yay. Dragonbane is out. Some of you already have it. Played it, run it. There you go. Shucky Ducky Quack Quack. My friends at Free League, even though they don't know we're friends. Eat the Reich? What? What's that? What Victor says, that's got to be a huge thrill seeing someone make something for a game you made. Of course, sure. Man, have you seen Eat the Reich? Yeah, how that's doing. The Kickstarter from Rowan, Rook, and Deckard. Beyond funded, 164K. 3,500 backers. What is this? What do I need to know? Eat the Reich? Imagine it's a World War II thing. Eat the Reich. Kickstarter. I must know about this. What is this? Funded in 31 minutes. 25K goal. Crushed it. Still got 26 days to go. They've created 10. They've backed 129. I must know more. It's a tabletop role-playing game in which you, a vampire commando, are coffin dropped into occupied Paris and must cut a bloody swath through Nazi forces en route to your ultimate goal, drinking all of Adolf Hitler's blood. Written by Grant Howitt of Honey Heist, Spire, Heart, and illustrated by Will Kirby of Critical Role, Image, Dark Horse, and Boom. Over the top, ultra-violent game is designed to be played from beginning to end in 1 to 3 sessions of carnage, blood magic, meaningful flashbacks, and hundreds upon hundreds of extremely dead fascists. It tells one story, it tells it loud, and it tells it brilliantly. Think Wolfenstein crossed with Danger 5, and you're not far off the mark. 72-page rulebook, D6 pool system, the Havoc engine, if you're familiar with that. That's too funny. Michael Holland. I was told anecdotally the most asked question at the Free League booth was, where is the game where I could play Darkwing Duck? We all know how I feel about ducks and RPGs. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to play with the duck. You don't have to play with ducks in your game, Sean. I don't. Somebody at the table is going to be mad because they can't. Because Sean doesn't want it. We do print news? Print news! Wait, what? Sean, is there a story there? What? I just don't like ducks in role-playing games. Like, if I'm playing fantasy, I just don't see one of the races as being ducks. I wasn't a big fan of Kenkus either, and I had a player play a Kenku in one of the games I ran. I don't know. I have my hang-ups, okay? I just do. There's no story. No story. Shucky ducky quack quack. I had 3 extra ducks for the game I ran at Strategicon. They were the first to go. I would run that game, and if a player showed up as a duck in Dragonbane, I'd like, it's duck season. Quack, quack. Print news from Ian World. The Dragon Sword issue by Legendary Games, supplement by 5th edition. And ride that train, man. Ride that train. Even Death Can Die by Pelgrim Press. Cthulhu Confidential. For those of you, Cthulhu Confidential is a dual player, one GM type of game for Cthulhu Gumshoe from Pelgrim Press. It's the 1-to-1, they say. This is a supplement for them. So Even Death Can Die. PC faces their noir nightscape of hard-boiled and cosmically horrific L.A., New York, and Washington, risking madness and corruption alone. The PC will face Nazi spies, a monster controlled by a megalomaniac, deal with a riot, face rat attacks, and more. Sounds win-win-win to me. Champions, or as I say in my house, chumpions. Just kidding. Hero 5th System. Hero System 5th Edition revised and Fantasy Hero 5th Edition. Heroes in a Hurry. And then there's Joros Codex. Heroes in a Hurry has a modular character creation system without all the fiddly math. All it takes to build a ready-to-play superhero is to select from a list of pre-built modules covering background, characteristics, skills, powers, martial arts, and more. Speaking of powers, did I hear that Marvel had 300? Oof. 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 Matt, oof. Oof. Sean's X card, our waterfowl. Hey-o. Brandon wants to know what duck hurt you. I could never stand Daffy Duck. I could not stand Donald Duck. It just stems from back then, if you really must know. There. You've made me vulnerable. Wabbit season. Duck season. Hieronymus, Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus playset. Softcover rulebook. Hex-crawling RPG in which PCs are a group of refugees fleeing an astral terror known only as the Follower. As it pursues the PCs, they rip their way through reality into strange worldscapes inspired by the paintings of the medieval artist Hieronymus Bosch, which I'm butchering completely. Godsend Agenda, a game of postmodern mythology. 3rd edition of this box set. $66. PCs are epic scale superheroes with heavily mythical and cosmic inspirations brought to life. PCs are at the center of creation. Heroes and Hardships. Earl of Fife Games. Hardcover core rulebook. Jason Duff. Name on there. It's a universal RPG system suitable for any setting or genre that allows game masters to craft any story they desire. Really? Any story? What? Includes optional rules, hundreds of character options, 2 magic systems. Well, what if... Okay, so hold on a second. It allows game masters to craft any story they desire. I want a story without any wizards or superheroes or magic. Sean, you're being a dick. Quit being a dick, Sean. World-Ending Game by Everest Hipkin. Softcover supplement, $40. Series of small games to end a campaign or story. Written to serve as the last session of a campaign in any system. Wow, look at that niche. You don't know how to end your game? There. I wrote a book on it. It'll help you. It should come after the final adventure and does not have mechanics for deciding big story outcomes, but instead offers a series of scenes and vignettes that build towards and create closure. Players pick scenes for their characters while the GM controls the camera, the lighting, the mood, and the frame for each ending, much like the last 20 minutes of a movie. I would end mine with awkward goodbyes, sunset, slow breeze, man, woman looking at each other awkwardly, not knowing what to do, fade to black. There you go. And scene. Fight to Survive, James Kerr, softcover rulebook, $42. PCs are 20th century martial artists dealing with heartbreak and the low-stakes adventures of down-to-earth, urban try-and-die martial arts where most situations are violent and usually end in sadness. PCs are struggling, mundane, down and dirty, tough folks exploring the spirit of martial arts action cinema with all its sincerity and emotion. Best for long campaigns of martial legacy. Games includes meaningful combat with moves compared against other moves, with one winning against the other. An emotional side to PCs, which is just as important as their violent lifestyle. A multi-generational play in which players unfold an entire martial lineage throughout the 20th century. Don't need to know martial arts to play. Ooh, but it will help you find the richness during game. And, of course, Marvel Multiverse. How many of you guys got this? This D616. Come on, Marvel guys, fans. Did you guys got this yet? Guys. Brandon agrees on those characters. Would it be better if they were mice instead of ducks? No. No, it would not. Look. Okay. If you really... Actually. If you really must know... I have some hang-ups with fantasy role-playing games. One reason I would not want to play some games is like the tone and the character, races, species, things of that nature. Like, not a big fan of Goliath being a 5th edition game. I don't know. It's just something I'm hung up on. Same thing with like if I played Mouse Ritter, okay, we play mice. And everything's an adventure, and my mouse has a little toothpick as a sword and a little button for a shield. I'm down. But not like, okay, I'm going to ride across the countryside with my hireling Patsy, and I'm a knight, but I'm a duck. No. Riding through the countryside, medieval countryside, on a horse, in armor. You're a mouse. No. Okay. All right? Okay. All right. Just wanted to get that off my chest. Maybe Sean was traumatized by the birds. Maybe. I didn't think that movie was that scary. Alfred Hitchcock. It's a good question. Let's see. Like Pugmire. I would play Pugmire. Okay? Yeah. Next weekend, everyone turn their icons into ducks. I get it. You know, one thing I've always told people is you never go out and tell people what button to push. You know, I just hate it when this happens, because you know what happens? People are going to do exactly that, whether it's in tongue-in-cheek or not. So there you go, ducks. There you go. Anyways. Duck phobics. Or why do I feel there is a picture of a little crying Sean with Donald Duck at Disneyland somewhere? Gabe says crickets. Good to see Gabe. Oh, no, because there's no PDF. Yeah, they mentioned that, right? Excuse me. My apologies. We picked up Marvel, Eileen. Okay. You need to play Roots. Okay. Orcus Dorcas, Heart to Heart Sean, camera 2. Yep. Yeah, for sure. That's my soft voice in the camera, sincerity, tone change camera, angle. Yes. Wayne says I bought the Marvel RPG. Probably will break my heart as most Supers RPGs do. Well, give it a fair shake. We'll see. I'm annoyed there's no PDF too. Even Burning Wheel has PDFs now. Hey-o. You need to read Redwall, Sean. Do I? What is Redwall? Tell me more. Post it in the Discord. Let me know, Michael. I can't read anyway. I can read, but I fall asleep. Chris, it's the easiest RPG to pick up and play I've seen in years. The Marvel Multiverse RPG, but it's not exactly complicated or deep. I heard about the big damage. Cavernas. And that's what Matt said. Like you're either doing very, very little damage or you're doing super awesome mega damage, which makes sense. I think that's like, I'm sure he tried to capture comic books. Caverna says, so no ducks, but you're okay with wolves in Forbidden Lands. Let's talk about the Wolfkin in Forbidden Lands. I have not had any players play Wolfkin in Forbidden Lands. And not because I've ruled it out, though I think I may if I use it for a Forbidden Lands setting book or a campaign, which I may use for West Marches. So you're right. I tolerate Wolfkin in Forbidden Lands, but I probably would rule it out as a player choice. Hey, what can I say? It's complicated. Okay. I love it. Call me to the floor. I have no problem with it. Call it out, Caverna. Call it out. Hey, come on, buddy. Come on. All right. Wayne, what? Let's see. Caverna, I say that, but I don't like these ducks in a fantasy setting too. That's okay. I'm all right with Devil's Advocate. Totally get it. Redwall was amazing. I love those books as a kid. Victor says Adobe chewed up and spit out my Burning Wheel source documents to the point they can't use them for future printing, so they released what they had as PDFs. New editions will have to be full rewrites. Oh, bummer. You need to put a filter on camera too for the heart-to-heart. Yeah, the fuzzy side, like the blurred out sides, maybe. Orcus Dorcas. Nelson, I like to play human character and find all the weird creatures while exploring. Bingo. Bingo bammo. I'm not even a huge fan of like half-orcs, although there is a story there, right? The Wolfkin in Forbidden Lands, not to get on that tangent, is, it's like having a Romulan in classic Trek. And even Romulans are humanoids, right? I think the story is much interesting with the Wolfkin Forbidden Lands as being Wolfkin. Like, I mean, it can be tricky enough for the different races. What are they? Their kin, the different kin in Forbidden Lands to be adventuring with each other in the first place. But anyways, I digress. You guys got me off on a tangent. Just saying. That's okay, though. That's why we're here, because, yeah. So there you go. All right. We get into crowdfunding, maybe. I don't play all humans. It's been a while since I played a fantasy role-playing game. When's the last time? Forbidden Lands. And I played the human guy. Can't remember if he's Asleen or Alderlander. I don't remember. All right. We went over Abojima. And it's 5e. Wow, that's crazy. 13,000%. Fledge Witch, 1 hour funded. Magical Apprentices of Eliminaria, an original system. Dudes, I should every week just put a tick mark down and say, look how many new RPGs are coming. And we have how many RPGs? We gotta have like 3 RPGs per person in the hobby. We really do. Like separate RPG. 99% I play is not human. 99%? So you're saying there's 1% where you've played human. Got it, Ty. That's fully funded. Perils and Princesses, a fairy tale adventure RPG by Outrider Creative. Core rulebook, $25. If you're a fan of children's fairy tales, hand-animated Disney movies, stories of adventure through the woods, and rules-light role-playing, Perils and Princesses might be for you. There you go. It's funded. Look at that. Crushed it. Badge Quest, Mystery of Elazar Manor, successfully funded in 90 minutes by DM Dave. Original core book. Described as the Girl Scouts meets Scooby-Doo. And this is an RPG of girls' youth groups solving mysteries. There you go. Crushed it. Kavlov's Sanctuary. OSE. The Dungeon's Key. Funded in 12 hours. 65 Canadian dollars, which means it's like $2 US. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Just kidding. Given our dollar, it's probably 1 for 1 at this point. You can get the Kavlov Sanctuary writing sample free at drive-thru. An ancient barrier is failing. The demon Balthazar is coming back to the world. Through 13 dungeons, stop the demon before he destroys the village, the hills around it, and you. Kavlov's Sanctuary saw life already for Merc Borg. Now it's coming to OSE, and it's funded. Dude. It's got 5 days to go of this recording. Windheim and Horn of the Dawn. Windheim and Horn of the Dawn by Nordic Skulls. This is Free League Publishing's Dragonbane Drakok Dominar. It's finding its audience. This is for Dragonbane. So there you go. I think I saw this. 614% out of Sweden. So if you're kicking off Dragonbane, you might want to check out these. I think this was brought up before they were going to do this. Maybe I brought it up before it was ending, which is like 1 week to go. Earth Dawn. What? Earth Dawn? Kickstarter Deeper Secrets from FASA Corporation. Holy cow, FASA. Bring Star Trek back, FASA. I mean, Battletech. I mean, you know, Earth Dawn, Shadowrun. The book celebrates Earth Dawn's 30th anniversary with a source book that is a must-have for all Earth Dawn 4th edition players. There you go. 57,000 of 20K, 288% makes that number. Defiant role-playing game, Reign and Legacy. Defiant RPG. We went over this, I think, because of, right? It's the comic, right? Graphic novel. Yes? Isn't that what Defiant is originally? No? Am I wrong? Could I be wrong? I'm probably wrong. I've been wrong. I can be wrong. It's funded. Check it out. And that's it for crowdfunding. Yes. Never played Earth Dawn. I have not played either. The Hussman is a big Earth Dawn guy, I think. Somebody posed a question about Earth Dawn in the Discords, and I summoned him to answer it. My understanding is Earth Dawn originally was the precursor to Shadowrun. Like the era. So the world of Earth Dawn becomes Shadowrun. I don't know if you guys knew that. A little tidbit of trivia there. Uh-oh. Broken Witch. Thanks for chiming in. Good to see you. I loved Earth Dawn First Edition. It was one of my first RPGs in the late 90s. There you go. There was somebody I was following. I think that's on, is like works for FASA and is Earth Dawn. Like does Earth Dawn. That's their job. Or side job. Somebody mentioned that the magic system's pretty cool in it. There might as well be infinite content. We can never read, play, listen, watch everything that's out there. So get the media scalpel out and start cutting. Oh, drastic, but yes, it's crazy. It's just too much. It's too much. It's not too much. Is it too much? I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Anyways, let's wrap this sucker up, man. It's Saturday. You guys need to get out and get some air. Like, come on, pasty white people. Assuming many of you are pasty white people. I don't know. Get out and get some vitamin D, yo. And if you're not pasty white people, get out and get some vitamin D. Air? Yes. Well, that's true. Depending on where you are, air may be dangerous. Don't go outside. Then stay in and play games or cruise the internet. Up for Sean, just got done with Swords of the Serpentine. Clever name, Wayne. Ran that for us for 2 sessions. Very good. Thank you for doing that, Wayne. Interesting system, Gumshoe. Eversink is the city it takes place in, the setting. Very Venice inspired, in my opinion. Probably first thoughts, probably need more. Like to get like a full-fledged good opinion. The setting's decent. The game is decent, but I think like Wayne gave us pre-gens. So Wayne did a lot of the heavy lifting, no question. So some of the things like Kevin Culp, who's the designer, he kind of tweeted, hey, we did this. And he's like, oh, did you, the game is meant to do like sourcing of the table for some details. And Wayne, I think, was under the gun as a like, hey, I'm going to run a one shot. I'm going to get all this together. So that wasn't the huge emphasis. He had us make up some details. So that was good. But I think as things go further along, probably get more of that. So it's the 2-session piece. So it's not a knock on Wayne running the game or the game itself. It's just some of these you got to play multiple times. At least me personally, run it multiple times, get a feel for what it's at. There's things you got to look at the sheet and go, oh, you have this thing that can give you a bonus, or because you have a relationship with this faction, you can leverage that. Oh, good to know, right? Like if it also helps when you play a one shot to understand that, probably making your own character. Like I mentioned this to the guys when we were kind of wrapping up, is if you had your own character, then you know why you're picking those things. And then you have a particular concept, and then to lean on those a little bit more. And that's for like any game, honestly. So it's good. Any award winning, won 2 Any awards. So if you want to check out Swords of the Serpentine, it's a sword and sorcery game based on Gumshoe. So if it's Gumshoe, it's usually got a mystery behind it of some sorts that you're unraveling. Oh, you see it, Orcus? Oh, you're not going anywhere. I thought you were going somewhere. Fill the bathtub with water so you can flush the toilet if the water goes out. Hot tip. You got a hurricane coming? No. It's anyway, lost. So that's wrapped up. Next, with that group, Cyborg. Harrigan's gonna run us through Cyborg, I think is the plan. So if you're not familiar with Cyborg, it's the cyberpunk of the Borgs, right? It's part of the Borg family. Not pirate, no, not that one. The one where you play pirates? No, that's Pirate Borg. No, not that one. Oh, the one where you play like it's got the yellow cover? It's Merc Borg. That's not that one. What are the other Borgs? Forbidden Land Season 2, Caverna says. Well, somebody tossed it around, like, I think. So, full disclosure, after I get off this mic, I probably will head over to Noble Knight, because for some reason I cannot find the Bitter Reach. And I could have swore, I know if I look at my order, it was part of an order. And I got to imagine that I got it with the big, huge bundle that I bought originally with Forbidden Lands. I cannot find the hardback book for Bitter Reach. I don't have it. So I got it from Noble Knight. I had a gift card that I'm willing to burn. So, so when I mentioned that to the gang, you know, Harrigan, since he ran that, was thinking of like, oh, we need to probably come back to that at some point. So, has not been written off, Caverna. But I gotta have it, like, just to have it. Tuesday, I play with 3 others, Star Trek Adventures, at least as far as I know. Session 0, which will be fun. The whole gang is up for us recording, so that's cool. I don't think we're going to stream. I'll record it, so it'll be fun. I got a little surprise for the group. Nothing crazy, but we're going to play in the original series era. I should probably grow my sideburns a little longer. Facial hair, I don't know what I guess I could shave, but I don't really want to do it for a game. But you know, you gotta have sideburns if you're in the original era, right? Maybe. I guess they weren't that bad. So we're gonna kick that off, which means I should probably read the rule book this weekend. Because I think the guys that I'm gaming with probably want a little bit more system mastery, so we can kind of roll with it, get things going. So I don't want to be that guy. So, and it's probably going to be easy for this group for me to be that guy. No, I'm with you, Eileen. Rule books, just tell me what to roll. I get this. This is the core. I'm good. 2d20, like, add up this and this, and I have to roll under. I'll be fine. That's it, right? Good. Can I use momentum? Okay. What does that do? Gives me an extra D20? Okay. It's just that easy. It's just that easy. So that's going to be fun. Looking forward to that. I don't know how many sessions we're going to play. And then I think after last week's stream, I got off the horn and was kind of going through my brain. And I think West Marches, I think it may end up Forbidden Lands. Now, some of you are like, oh. Some of you might be like, oh, okay. And some might get excited. So the couple reasons. I know the rules. I think the setting's good. There's a good premise. I don't think everybody needs to buy the book. I mean, part of it was like, oh, it should probably have an SRD. I could run OSE's got an SRD and everybody could just use that. In Forbidden Lands, there isn't a lot of leveling. You get XP at the end of every session, and then you can spend XP to increase your skills or, garner talents. I think you can increase your abilities to some degree, but they're very expensive, and then you use some of it for magic. But other than that, so if you know kind of the path and somebody says, oh, you can pick these talents, then it's kind of easy, and it's not going to be all over the place, because usually there's there's the first level of the talent and the prerequisite for the rest. And those talents, it could be easily conveyed to the person and say, hey, here's your options. So I think it may be that route. And it's got journey and survival. And I'll probably put some factions in there to make it interesting. Speaking of prep, I'm off for Pendragon. Have a great weekend. See you, Orcus Dorcas. So I think that may be the route I go. I don't have to learn a new game and buy a new game and figure out what that looks like and hope everybody else appreciates it. And then I have to get the world and what that looks like and the backdrop of it. Like, oh, you're on Hot Springs Island. It's an island you're going to explore. I have it. Pendragon is on my list too. Broken Witch for sure. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And launching time could be sooner. could be sooner. It may just be limited, like limited. I'll probably start out smaller with a smaller group, and it might be limited in the times and dates that I provide. And then maybe as one of these games wraps up, then I will have more time and I can create more sessions. So we'll see. We shall see. But it's something I'm really wanting to do and see what it. Yeah, there you go. So that's what I've got going on in the gaming space. Probably won't be space. Like I know a few people were like, I still have the tally here. There's 10 for sci-fi and 6 for fantasy. Fate Game and Blue Beetle this weekend. That's cool. So yeah, that's what I got going on. So I'm going to thank everybody here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for viewing this after the live recording. Thanks for participating in the chat. I forgot to tell everybody to like. Don't forget the like. And everybody's dropped off. So if you haven't dropped off, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Gosh, I probably should have an animation in the middle of this damn video to do that. So yeah, be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. Thanks, Roger. Thanks for the reminder. Yes, go play some games. And we'll be here next weekend, this time, 8 a.m. Central Time, every Saturday, unless something crazy comes up. So hope to see you. Join our Discord if you'd like. Leave a comment. Comments aren't going to be alive until this thing renders. But if you see this after the fact, let us know who down below you would want to play with who's famous. What famous person, actor, author, filmmaker, artist, whatever you would want at your game table. We'll let you go. Thanks